Wickham Sound. Community radio for Wickham. Love Wickham Sound.
Right, so now the time is 26 minutes past 8. Welcome if you've just joined us. It's Pippa here with The Breakfast Show here on Wickham Sound 87.9 FM. And I'm delighted to welcome our first guest for our 2015 season. And it is the Mayor Cllr Mohammed Hanif. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Pippa. It's great to be back again, actually, and congratulations on your first day. It's very exciting times, and thank you for inviting me to your station.
You're very welcome. Now, you've had quite a busy year as mayor since you were weighed in May. Now, I'm not going to ask you to tell us how much you weighed, but you're out and about every day of the week visiting different charities and schools and local organisations. Are you getting plenty to eat?
I tell you what, I got to be really very, very careful, actually, when I'm actually offered food, but still I have to sort of feed myself. But there's plenty of time, and you've got another 6 months to go yet. And yes, you're right, I've been very busy. I was just counting my engagements and just done over 170 engagements for the last 5.5 months.
My goodness, that's going some. What have been some of the highlights of those engagements?
Well, the highlights have been that I went to schools. One of the projects that I really started to sort of leave a legacy is to create a junior mayor. And so the first event is taking place on the 24th of this month, where we've selected 4 children from primary school, from Castlefield School, Millbrook School, Hamilton Academy and Chappingview School. So I'm very excited with that. And another milestone has been that we were offered a portrait from a local family. Their great-great-great-grandfather was a mayor in 1797 and 98. And we actually had a privilege to get that portrait, actually. Now it's on display in the mayor's parlour. So we actually called last 6 years mayors, and we actually presented that as a launch. And we invited the family as well. That was another big event, something for Wickham's history. There are lots of other events, really. I've been going to schools, art exhibitions, presenting various certificates. Like I was with the local MP. We were in Highcrest School. They had an Equality Achievement Award. So we've given that, and it's the first school in actually Bucks to achieve that.
Oh, terrific.
So lots of events, really. Opened some new businesses as well, and holding charity events, so that to raise funds for my charities. So it's been really action-packed for the last sort of 5.5 months. And there has never been a sort of, a dull moment, meeting so many different people.
Yeah.
Especially from voluntary sector, people who I label them as silent runners.
Yeah, because there are hundreds of charities and not-for-profit organisations in High Wycombe. And when you say the word charity, you immediately think of the British Heart Foundation or Cancer Research or the Red Cross. And these are some of the UK's leading charities, which are... they might disagree, but they're very well funded. But in High Wycombe here, we have lots of little charities that do some great work, but they don't have the money to promote themselves. And that's one of the reasons we're here. So if you're out and about and you're meeting charities and not-for-profits, do tell them to get in touch with us, won't you?
No, definitely. I think Wickham Sound is going to be an excellent platform to help those small players, really small charities, which are doing equally and as important as the big charities. And I'm glad that I've chosen 2 charities, which are very local charities, and trying to raise funds for them. And it's been an honour, really, to help the 2 charities.
OK, so let's talk about those. So tell us about the 2 charities you're supporting.
Yeah, my first one is it's a Rennie Grove Hospice, which is, again, helping terminally ill people during the last few days of their lives, so to help the families. Very worthwhile cause. Second one is the One Can Hope. This is the organisation that takes green vegetables and fruit from the local supermarkets and tries to distribute to the people who are actually vulnerable, families who are in difficulties. So these are both actually are very, very sort of important charities, and so to me, they are the two causes that I will do my best to raise as much as possible during my mayoral year.
OK, now you mentioned the Rennie Grove Hospice. We've got the Rennie Grove Centre in the town centre, haven't we, the building, which I think is available at the moment, isn't it? So we need to get somebody in there renting that building and bringing some money in. Is the hospice itself in the town centre? Where is that?
The hospice, actually, there's in Tring.
OK.
But they've got the local satellites in sort of towns.
Right.
And they bring their services to the local towns.
Yeah.
So again, actually, when I'd done some sort of bit of background sort of work, and it's amazing. I mean, there's a South Box Hospice as well.
Yes,
there
yes.
are lots of other organisations but I just happen to choose these two.
Yeah.
So which are really for me to sort of raise funds and to help them to raise their profile.
Okay.
And to help them out.
So we need to get somebody from the Rennie Grove organisation to come in and tell us about the great work that they do. So if you could pass that on to them, get them to come and book themselves in. And the South Bucks Hospice, of course, under the leadership of Joe Wolfe. They're fundraising to build a new building, and Joe will be in later during our run, I think next week, to come in and tell us how that project is going. But the one can hope. Sarah, in fact, is coming in this morning. She's the first guest on the mid-morning programme this morning, and what a success story that is.
It's been really great to support One Can Hope. I'll give you an example. They've got this eco project running in Cressex School in partnership with the Asda store, where they've got actually these raised beds, and when the students actually grow these the food, and I happened to actually go there, actually just see that for myself, and it was quite an incredible project. Here you got a charity, local supermarket, and school, and coming together. And so they grow the produce. The students grow the produce and do the digging, all that sort of bit of gardening, and all the produce that actually One Can Hope collects and then distributes to the people who are vulnerable. So great, really example of teamwork.
Yeah.
Bringing 2-3 organisations together.
Yeah. And we've got our fridge. It's the Steve Baker fridge. We really ought to explain why it's the Steve Baker fridge. Steve Baker MP, of course, has been our guest on Wickham Sound the last 2 years. And last year, he came in for his interview and he said to one of our team, "Oh, could I have a glass of water?" And where we were, we didn't have any drinking water. We had no bottled water, and somebody had to run out and find a shop that was open late to get him a bottle of water. So this year, we've got a fridge, and we're going to fill it hopefully with lovely fruit and vegetables for One Can Hope, but we're also going to keep a couple of bottles of water in there for our guests, and so that's why we've called it the Steve Baker fridge.
Oh, that's great, actually. I mean, to me it was a mystery, but thank you. Yeah. It's a great story. Yeah.
So we're going to take a photo of the fridge every day, and we want to see that filling up with lovely green, fruit and vegetables, and then we're working with Sarah and the team at One Can Hope to redistribute that food to other
It's
places.
great to hear the healthy promotional as well, actually, work that you're doing as well. So it's I'm really pleased that Sarah is coming later, and so she will again tell the listeners actually the important work that her organisation is doing.
Yeah.
And I will certainly pass the word to the Rennie Grove as well, and I'm sure they're equally excited and come and actually support and actually use this platform to really publicise the important work they're doing.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that you visit lots of small businesses and new entrepreneurs who are taking their first steps into business. You're a businessman, of course. What do you think is the landscape in High Wycombe at the moment for people who are looking to open a new business?
I think High Wycombe is a very, very sort of thriving town. It's full of business, sort of people who are very talented. There are a lot of opportunities, and the local district council they're trying to promote various ways to encourage young people to start up, the sort of new ventures. And on the other day, I happened to go to Cressex Business Park, and there's a medical centre. It's Medi Centre actually, it's a family-owned business, and it started in late 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and they produce these special to do with actually. Medical equipment, really state-of-the-art medical equipment, and they actually launched this called Clean Room, state-of-the-art Clean Room, really to do with dialysis related equipment. And it was really fabulous to go there and to share a success story of High Wycombe, a family-run enterprise, and an example. And they opened this new facility. And it was a really privilege to go and actually to support them. And that's just actually one example of quite a few that actually I happened to cut the ribbon and to go and actually sort of support them.
And you have a scientific background, don't you?
Yeah, I was working for British Petroleum, and I worked there for 32 years, and I was a team leader in one of their research centre, and I was running a small section of analytical laboratory, and I was managing about eight scientists. And it was quite a privilege, really. I was a team leader there, and had very exciting times. But I'm retired now and enjoying my time in the new sort of mayoral role, and sort of really very happy for my retirement as well.
How long have you been a councillor, and what was it that drove you to become a councillor?
This is my second term.
Mm-hmm.
I was elected in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things actually was one of my friends who was a councillor actually, Mr. Rafiq, who was working with me.
Yeah.
And he sort of motivated me. He said, because you've done a lot of other voluntary work. I was the chairman of REC and the secretary of Mosque Committee, and he said, why not get elected as a district councillor? So I was sort of motivated, and that actually really encouraged me. So I put myself as a sort of for a local district councillor in Oak Ridge and Castlefield ward, and so I was really pleased that I got elected, and I served my first term, and then another mysterious time came when I was selected as a mayor. And it happened to be during the election year, this year. And for the last 12 years, people who got selected during the election year, they've been losing elections. And so I thought, there was general trend that people in the last election year, they will not get selected and got elected as a councillor.
Mm-hmm.
So I retired from my role from BP in end of March. And then I happened to go and knock on doors and actually campaign actually during April. And very luckily, I reversed the trend. I got myself elected. And so I'm here now, enjoying my mayoral term and honoured to really to serve the town of High Wycombe, So very pleased about that outcome, really.
It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because obviously when you're campaigning to be elected, you have your political hat on. But then when you become the mayor, you have to put that to one side. And really that's a very independent position, which is distance. You have to distance yourself from the political arguments that go on. Is that difficult to do?
And in a way, actually, because when I was working with BP, I was very fortunate. I was working in the laboratory where there were people of 12 different nationalities, and really working with different people. It was one of my strengths. And I think when I got elected as a mayor, it wasn't very difficult, really. It's just that I had to work with all different people, different backgrounds, and so really embrace the rainbow sort of type of perception. And I'm enjoying myself. I've got a hat, the mayoral hat, which really and promoting one community, and that is my theme for the year as well. So it wasn't a great difficulty really. So I happened to work with all different people, different background, different faiths, and different creed. It's no problem at all. I've got a very, very open mind.
Yes, yes, and here with us as well, we're here to celebrate what unites us. So it doesn't matter what your background is, what your nationality or your religion or your cultural outlook or your lifestyle. We're here for everybody in High Wycombe.
No, I think Wycombe Sound, I think it's a great sort of flag for promoting one community for High Wycombe, and I really want to congratulate you for for your perseverance and getting the Wycombe sort of station to this stage. I remember when I toured this station about for a few weeks back, and there were a lot of wires, and it was a project in progression. And now I think it's coming to a completed product, and actually it's nice to see now it's completed this. The little presenter room, and it's a great really platform, and I wish you all the best. Actually, really very pleased.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have you seen upstairs in the blue room?
I've seen. Yeah, I mean that's a great sort of venue for for the communities to come and hold their meetings, and it's a really a good sized sort of meeting room, and it's a great really venue for the people of High Wycombe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if I happen to have some sort of meetings, and if I got no venue, I know who to contact, and I'll definitely make use of that. And
that's what we like to hear.
Excellent venue, resource.
And we've got lots and lots of local live music acts and choirs. I think we've got about 5 choirs now lined up over the next 4 weeks to come and perform upstairs in the Blue Room. So let's talk a little bit about what you're up to later today.
Later today, we've got switching on the lights. Actually, this evening, the Christmas lights. That's going to be sharing the platform with the District Council Chairman, Councillor Ian McInnes. So that'll be a great sort of privilege for me to actually take part. And also later in a couple of weeks' time, we're holding a Festival of Carols in All Saints Church on the 6th of December. So we've got lined up quite a few choirs actually from schools, and it's going to be an action-packed program. So again, actually, I will sort of be pleased actually to promote that through your radio station.
Of course.
And it's a great sort of way to really to spread the information to the local community. And also then actually Town Clerk is organising a community event actually in the town hall in February. That's to promote one community, and hopefully, and that will be at some stage we will come back to your station and actually so hopefully we will actually announce that, give some more details on that.
Terrific.
So it's quite a few things coming really in the pipeline. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Let's just take a short break for a moment, and we'll be back right after this. Purple flag is a very important accolade for the town, isn't it?
It is, yeah. High Wycombe happened to be the one of the 42 towns and cities actually that hold this prestigious